Let's let social media catch up. I can see a few have come on through, so that's cool. Good evening all. The Ashby here, Motocross and Speedway Memories. Hope you can hear me all good. Not sure who that is, but hopefully you can register your name before we get going. Like Andy has here, look. How you doing, Andy? So basically you just need to come out of this video. You just click the link in the post before you go in the video, and it basically just gives it permission on privacy to use your name on your Facebook so I can see who I'm talking to. I wonder if that's Marty. Might be Marty. But hi, Andy. How's it going, buddy? Hope you're good. White looking trick there. There's the missus has also put the link there. Look, even her name's not even come up. Hi, David. Hope you can hear me all good. Hope everyone's good. Got plenty of pictures in my bag tonight on here to put on the screen for Talon, and probably got 30 plus questions in front of me as well, just in case. But if you guys ask them, oh, there he is, my man, Pat Stott. How's he going, Pat? Involved in 90s motocross on Instagram, and Facebook, etc. Also, you should check out his designs as well. He also designed, I don't know if you can see it, my Motocross and Speedway Memories logo as well. So what a legend he is. Hello, Mr. Simon Gill. I know you can't do things like that. How's it going, buddy? But you're all good, look. Got that lovely profile picture there, look, with the old Pico gear. Is that on the old Honda? Hello, Paul. How's it going? So it looks like most of you are not sure who that is. Yeah, there's a proper legend on tonight. Like I said, there's my missus has put a link in the comments. If you can't see that, you just come out of the video, literally go onto the post before you go into the video, and just click on the link you'll see in the post, and it gives permission to use your Facebook profile. Good man, Pat. Thank you very much. There she is. She's even registered her own face now. I have not. I'm not sure who that is, but that's all I've got is H2O. So I just got water tonight. Plus, I'm back on the diet and all that. Getting married in a couple of months, so no crisps and all that. And yeah, the old belly slimming down lovely. Yeah, so Marty, basically, just come out of this video quick, and you can just literally on the post. Don't just press straight on the video. You'll see on the link, and you click on the link on the post, and it just gives your Facebook permission to use your picture, like Stewie here. How's it go, Stu? Hope you're good, buddy. And then I can see your profile and your name. Otherwise, you'll be asking me, and I won't be able to quote you on the screen because I won't know who it is. It just says Facebook user. Who the hell's that? So yeah, hopefully you'll all register your names. You just literally go in the link on the post before you come in the video. I know it's the first thing people do is just click on the video, which I get. It's just a pain in the ass with the privacy thing on here. To get your picture to come up on your profile and your name, you have to click on it just to give it permission, basically. That's all it is. Be nice if you didn't have to do that, but it's all, you know, what it's like this day and age, isn't it? With all privacy and all this haywire stuff. A bit like my group went on private and couldn't get it off. Stuff like that, you know. Hello, Callum. Yes, I have seen that, so that looks cool, mate. Yo, Simon Howes. Evening, you look better tonight than you did in that dress. Yes, mate, thank you for that. Look a lot better without the dress. Yo, Leon, how's it going? Talking about Martin's on here. The man Marty. He's got a hell of a collection. This man, Leon, has got a hell of a collection of motocross memorabilia. You should check it out. It's awesome. Not sure who that is, but hiya. Like I said, if you just come out of this video and just click on the link in the post before you go into the video, you can register your name. No, not done, buddy. If that's you, Marty, hopefully you can get it sorted so I know who I'm talking to. Jacob sorted his outlet. Hi, Jacob. Good, Leon. Good man. All good, Lee. Nice to see you back in the groove. Hope you survived your stag night. Yeah, I did. Weirdly, felt absolutely fine the next day, which was even weirder, Stu, because I can't even remember the last time I had a proper drink, and I can't remember the last time I went out. So to have as many as I had, I don't know. It's like over double figures of vodka and coke and loads of and that many shorts as well. I thought I'd be absolutely ruined. That's why Kevin was so disappointed. I thought there was a problem with my emails. I haven't received the wedding invite. Not sure who that is, but no, that's not registered, whoever that is. Have a great show, mate. I'm doing one for Polish Speedway. Oh, right. I'm not sure who that is. Who's that? But I can't see who that is. You have to click on the privacy thing in the post. Not in the official post, like post, but on the post before you come in here. Hi, Mick. How's it going? Hope you're good. Should be a good one, David. Right. I better send him the link and get him in, or he might rush off. Busy. Leon's busy to build a Twinner 50 years anniversary riders question. Whoa. Hey, Barney. Hopes I see that's you then, Barney, my man. He's the man. Yeah, Barney, all it is just a privacy thing. So in the post, before you come in, you just have to click on it and it gives your Facebook permission to use your profile picture and all that. Otherwise, it just comes up a Facebook user and I get really upset that I can't see legends like you on. Right, let me go and send the link to the man. Won't lie, a few nerves kicking in, like they do. A few nerves are kicking in when you get these legends on. Never gets old. And yeah, I never get over them nerves. So there we go. Right, so hopefully I've sent him the link now. Hello, Nigel. How's it going? Where's the next reunion? Any teasers? I might be having a meeting, Andy, in October of this year. Not a reunion. We're just going to stick to the Motocross and Speedway Members reunion every year, once a year. Big, massive event. But we're going to do a motocross meeting, but just a bit of a different vibe. And hopefully we'll be announced that soon for a date in October. So it should be cool. Yes, you're in now, Nige. I can see you clearly. Hub Gerlins as well. How's it going, Hub? My friend from Holland. Not bad, thank you very much. Hope you're good. Should be a good one. Hope you guys got, like I said, I've got about over 30 odd questions in front of me. But good man, Nigel. Good man. You're in all good. Leon. Oh, thanks, buddy. Oh, appreciate that. Thank you, mate. Yeah, there's always nerves. Oh, I think I can see my man's coming in the bottom of the screen. Hopefully he'll be able to hear us. I'll bring him in a second. I can see him, so it's good news. I'll bring him in a second. Right then, let's get the countdown going in and let's bring in the man. Right then, let's bring in the man then. Hopefully, I can see he's been adjusting his screen, trying to get it level. Right, let's bring him in. Here we go. Hopefully you hear us all clear. Talon.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you clear as day, yes.
Okay, great.
How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Just been plugging away in the office all day. So yeah, just doing some work like usual.
Awesome to meet you on the screen virtually as it is, but we spoke quite a few times on the email in the past year or two, but I really appreciate you doing this, buddy.
Cool, yeah, no problem. We like chatting about some of the old times.
Yes. I loved watching your career. I was a youngster in the UK in the 90s, racing motocross, and went to Foxhill GP, my hometown, many times to see you live and stuff. It was really cool. So it's awesome to get you guys on, and all the fans I know love it as well. So it's great to get it all out there.
Cool. Yeah, no, love to do it. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, let's get this thing going then. So what have you been doing then, Talon, since the racing days? I think you might give it away on your t-shirt there, but
yeah, no, I actually and retired in 2002, and you know, I kind of saw and was thinking there could be an opportunity with the Chirbies. I went down and visited them when I knew I was basically going to be calling it a career, and put a little deal together where I could help the Chirbies in the U.S. And when I first started the job, I started as kind of like a racing rider support position, just coming from racing and knowing all the managers and all the riders, it would be a pretty easy transition, which it was.
Yeah.
And so that was good, and it wasn't easy, to go, a little bit ego involved, being a racer to working with, but you know, we went through it and I figured it out, and it was kind of fun as well. And then eventually, you know, I'm jumping ahead, but in 2010, when the recession really hit hard and things had changed, I moved to sales, and that's where I've been ever since.
You enjoying the job now?
Yeah, it's actually much better than it was when I first started. Just being in a position of sales and basically making the decisions for Cherbys USA, it kind of brings me back to racing, where I can use my competitiveness, you know, to help increase sales and expand the brand. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, ultimately it is like racing. So if you get results, you have a job. If you don't get results, I suppose they change. That's the way it goes. But I am in a great position where I do make the decisions, and we can see if it pays off or we need to readjust. So that's really, like, you know, you get a little bit of self reward out of doing those kind of things.
So you've carried over your competitive edge, as it were, into that business as well.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I didn't even know how to open a computer when I stopped racing.
Didn't you?
I didn't know what a computer file was. I went to a friend of mine in Holland, a guy named Jan Mueller, and he'd worked with computers. And I remember just sitting there opening it, and he's like, "Okay, this is a file folder, and you have to think about it like a folder goes in a folder." And man, it was, I couldn't even get it. But what I will say, as an athlete, and even for young guys that might be debating to make a decision to come to the end of their career, how are they going to do it? If I don't know how hard all people work, but I basically took the work ethic, discipline, and desire that I had as a racer, and I just went all in on work. So, and I still do that. You can ask the people that I work with in Italy. I mean, I get up at 4 a.m, 5, and every single day work hard, because I'm not as educated. I mean, that's the way it is in racing, right? You start young, and you don't do as much school, or you didn't at least pay attention as good as you could. But with the work ethic, the work ethic and the discipline, I can do just as much or more than even the smartest guy, because I'll get up earlier and I'll go to bed later. I'll do whatever necessary to get, you know, those emails done or written the right way. So that's really been my key to success, is just a lot of hard work. But I learned the discipline of that, you know, being a high level athlete in motocross.
I've got a lot of the guys already coming in, making comments, just saying hi and everything. I've even just I put it up on the screen there. Jacob Grossman there has just put hi, Talon. But cool. So a lot of good, nice compliments already coming in. I've already just seen a couple said, Andy Statham put, "God, he's not aged at all."
That's yeah, I look young. I shaved for the meeting.
I've got Pat Stott here. You've probably seen his social media on Instagram. He does the 90s motocross on there. There's a big thing on Instagram. You might have seen it on there. He's put, "How has Talon not aged? He literally looks the same as he did in 1995.
Man, that's great.
This is going wow, isn't it? This is going wow.
Yeah, great. I'm going to do more of these interviews.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. Right, so I'll get into it. I've got loads of questions now, but I'll take the questions from the fans here anyway, straight away. So I've got Hub Gerlins here from Holland. He's put, "Hi, Talon. How did you experience your time with Jan de Groot?"
Jan de Groot was incredible. And sometimes, even with the teams and team managers that I have now, I refer back to Jan, particularly because Jan, whenever I race, you know, you're going to have some bad races. And when I did have a bad race, he wouldn't yell at me or, you know, even really say much. Jan was super quiet. I felt, though, he took it upon himself. So to me, the way I perceived him was that, in his mind, if you didn't do good, then he needs to make the bike better. Because in his mind, if I make the bike good enough, I don't care who I hire, they're going to win or do really good. So if I got eighth or something, maybe not a good result on the weekend, him and at that time was Paul Trevathan, who now he works in MotoGP with some of the, I think Oliveira or something, but some of the top KTM riders. Anyways, they would literally work on the dyno Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They'd sleep in there. And then I'd come Thursday or Friday. Okay, Talon, I think we found something. I think the bike's a little bit better. Try this or try that. And Jan always worked like that. And I think that's why he was, you know, obviously so successful. Was he always made sure you had the best possible bike.
I was going to say, Talon, while you're talking about obviously the JHK team basically and everything on screen, I've been bringing up some pictures of you on it as well. How good was that bike? I know you did the couple of years there, wasn't it? What was the first bike like, and then the second one?
So I got kind of fortunate because, obviously that year, I believe it was 95, Yondu had got that from Alec Wright in England. So it was his first year, the official factory factory Kawasaki team. And so he was really trying hard to put a big effort in. They had Stefan, so I got signed on, as I look at it, the second rider or the extra rider. I had number 8. But whatever he gave to Stefan, he gave me also the same opportunity with the bikes, the testing, all that. So we both had amazing bikes, and this sounds weird, but the first 3 years I come to Europe, I would get 8th in the world, and all these things would happen, struggle, and suddenly when you get on a good team with a good effort, you're testing a lot. I started to win races. I mean, I remember winning some of the pre-races like Mantova, and then in Italy there was another race up by the airport there in Malpensa that went on the hill there. I remember coming off the track going to my brother like, man, I cannot believe I just won that. But then, of course, the next race you're feeling more confident, more cocky, and all of a sudden you feel like you should win. And that's what he gave you such a good bike that I kind of compared to how Mitch was the years that he was so good when the 4-strokes just came in. As almost whoever you hired just won. You just start gaining confidence. You have a great bike, a great program. And that's how it was at Jans.
Just put up a couple of pictures of you on the JHK Kawasaki pulling the knack, actually, 2 of them.
Yeah, I remember working on that.
Beauties.
Well, the younger kids are always, McGrath, I think, did that in 94, and then all the kids started doing like, as they're getting older, you want to try to keep up with them. So I started trying doing those tricks.
Love that. I've got obviously you had the nickname, remember that, Martin Neary. I've just literally put him up with the picture of your shirt. He's got so much memorabilia, that guy. He's really cool. He's the guy with the DVDs, Talon, I told you about, that's going to send you them DVDs of all the racing, so that'd be cool. Yeah, he's just put about. So how did that come about with the Long Wolf nickname? Who gave you that? Was it some media? Did you do that yourself, or who come up with that?
Myself, I don't know. A couple of reasons. Back in the day when I was racing, there was like Denny Stevenson, Buddy Antonez, Jeff Emig. Those were the guys I came up with, McGrath, and those guys kind of like hung out together. I can almost go back a little bit. Before I even came to Europe, I was racing in 1990, and those were the kids I was coming up with. And then I actually signed a full factory contract for 91, so I had a great, basically rookie year. Ended up getting second to John Michelle Bale at Mount Morris. I got third at Hangtown. I got fifth at Axton. I was running third in the national. So I was like, man, if it had been nowadays, I'd have been a millionaire. But I did get the opportunity to get on a full factory ride. But then that year, it was only a 1-year deal. I got hurt. And just like always in our industry, or not always, but anyways, and in some cases, they had moved on to, I think, Steve Lamson at that time, and I'd lost my ride. So that was one of the reasons I ended up coming over to Europe, thinking that this is how young and dumb I was. But when I came to Europe, I didn't know much about Europe. I didn't follow it. I mean, I was only like 19 years old. I just thought, I'll go over there and win that title, world championship, and then I can get a factory ride. Because in that time, when you lost your factory ride, there was no secondary teams, none of that like they have nowadays. You were pretty much, it was over. I wasn't even 20. So, so I thought I'd come to Europe, kick some butt, and come back. Well, 8 years later, I still haven't won a title.
Yeah, it wasn't as easy as I thought.
Oh my God, it's so weird how you're young and you're so dumb.
Yeah.
But
was that just obviously as well? You guys are good. You Americans are known for confidence and stuff like that as well. And obviously you got to have confidence in your own ability. But obviously, was it quite a bigger step than you thought when you actually came over? Because obviously it's totally different tracks and cultures and all sorts.
Yeah, sure. Back in those days, there was no social media. So, the only thing you saw Cycle News, and once in a while you see Krampus Parker, Alex Puzar at that time were pretty much on top of their game. And I don't even know. And then some of the guys you come over, like I didn't know who Andrea Bartolini was or something. And I remember coming to Italy and going to a track, and I don't even know this guy. Like he doesn't, in the U.S. at that time with Bradshaw, they had the flashy helmet, the cool gear, like super cool stuff. Where Europe was more like solid colors, and it just wasn't as flashy. So you kind of think, this guy ain't no good. And so up this track, I'm like, I'm gonna go kick that guy's butt, right? Like this is Andrea. in Italy on a hard track. And this guy, you start going as fast as you can, he's still pulling away by like 2 and 3 seconds a lap. And you're like, what's going on?
What the fuck's going on? Yeah.
Well, you're getting pissed. You're like, I don't even know this guy, you know. But I learned a lot that you know, you got to be careful when you go to Holland and you're under these sand guys. They're lapping me. I was like, oh my god, I'm horrible. But yeah, it was all a big learning lesson coming to Europe, and it actually took me a few years to get kind of settled and get my mind around all of it, and yeah, and then become finally good enough. Thank God, getting on Jan de Groot and a good bike to start putting it together.
What was it? Was it called Carpi Suzuki? Wasn't it Carpi Team
It was
Suzuki?
Carpi Motor Suzuki. So they were the importer in Italy.
Yeah.
And kind of a little backstory on that is they actually, it was kind of weird. There's so much politics in the U.S. So my brother ended up pointing out a Supercross really fast, the way they had the point system at that time. So he actually went over and raced 1990 in Europe for Carpi Motor Suzuki. So that's how I got to know them, because I came over at the end of 1990 and rode the Fast Cross. And I was leading that race, and in Puzar, and I think it may have been Parker. Oh no, sorry, it was Rick Johnson at that time. So it was Johnson and Puzar both passed me, but I kind of battled with them and got third. And so then the Carpi brothers, who own that company, Tyson wanted to come back. I don't remember exactly how that worked out, but they were super stoked, and I knew them. I lost my ride. It was actually more money than I was going to be getting paid in the U.S. So I said, okay, I go to 1 year and do it, and then I'll come back, you know, because I didn't have a ride anyway. So it was about my only opportunity. And, you know, I went there and I learned a lot of lessons. We stayed there a long time, but it's kind of weird how things all worked out, right? Like going there, and then it was tough after a couple of years, after about it. The first year was just so tough to live there by yourself, because at that time you didn't have YouTube or nothing. So it's literally like, just get up and train every day. And after a while that gets burned out, especially, and you don't speak Italian. It was very difficult. But you know, staying there long enough, I learned to speak Italian, and it leads to the job that I'm in right now. So it's pretty insane how, like, sometimes life can be stranger than dreams. You know, that's really weird.
What were them Suzuki's like? Because obviously I know you went to 125 first and then onto the 250. I'm just putting up a picture of the 250 there on the screen.
There was not good. So the 125,
wasn't it?
I rode the 125 in 92, and that was a good bike, and I had some pretty good success. I won in Guatemala, and I got I think to maybe Vandenberg and Czech. We had some pretty good results there, but when the new bike came out, the 93 Suzuki, and then I wasn't on the factory team. I was like semi-factory, so we had decent suspension, but the engines were built, you know, inside with the Carpi brothers. So it was not great. That bike was not good. You know, it's funny when you're young and you're dumb. So it's kind of good in that way, because you don't know better and you're trying your butt off. That's what happens more in the middle or the end of your career, when you start getting the good rides and good teams. And then you start getting, you know, maybe not on quite top level teams, but you still think you can do it. And you know too much. You don't try.
So then you went on, I'm pretty sure, was it then the Pepsi Honda after that, was it? After the Suzuki?
It was. So I wanted to get off that team. I didn't have any options. And the big attraction of that deal was Roger Foster had just left HRC Honda in America, or Honda America. He would have a job. And so the Becker brothers would hire him. So Roger was actually our team manager that year and came to almost all the races.
What was that bike like?
The bike was okay. We had some factory parts. You know, I didn't know none of the politics when I was that age. So I didn't really know at that time, but all the money was coming from Honda France. So no matter how good I did, like I won Bucare that year. I won also Monteva. So both the preseason races, thinking that, you know, I'm going to get all the parts and everything. I'm beating Di Maria, but it didn't work like that. All the money was coming from Honda France. So he had a lot of the factory suspension and even the frame. But even the stock bike was good. But I think, if I remember right, I got injured pretty early in the year, so I didn't really race that much.
Yeah. I'm just looking at on there now on the side what the boys are saying. Got Pat said, Pat Stott from 90s Motocross put, what races do you feel were your best? Was it the AMA and GPs? Obviously, Glen Helen and High Point 99 were incredible on the FMF Honda.
Yeah, it's funny because I was just talking to Brown, Mike Brown today. He's
Oh
actually,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I happen to be in Florida at the moment. I came down after High Point last week to spend a week with with Max. And so Brown is actually the trainer for the amateur guys. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I got that picture in my.
Hey.
Yeah, that's really cool. So Brown's is actually the amateur guy trainers or amateur, but Alvin has like 3 or 4 guys that are high level guys that pay high level, and then we have the other kids that are coming up. They're trying to grassroots and bring kids up, and Max is one of those, and Brownie's our trainer guy. So I was actually talking with him today.
Oh, cool.
Oh, what was the beginning of the question? No, sorry, I think I got off track in my thoughts.
That's all right. He's Pat just put basically what was your what do you feel was your best race? What races do you feel your best? What sort of stick in your memory?
Well, I felt like that year in '95 was like a breakthrough year for me. Getting
Yeah.
on, being 3-time eighth. I mean, you want to be up there, but I didn't really expect it, and I led that world championship for I think 6 or 8 rounds for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It was. Yeah.
amazing, and so I felt like that if I want to talk about a year, that was maybe one of my best years. If I want to talk about tracks or particular races, yeah, of course. I felt like, I guess that's what I was getting back with Brown, is that when I came back in '99, you kind of have a chip on your shoulder because it was kind of like I don't want to say the Americans turned their back, but I didn't have an option. I had to come to Europe, and then everybody thinks you're washed up. So you kind of were, I was like, okay, well, I'll show you. And that's why I was so gnarly that year, because I really, I threw away all distractions. I mean, I was just living with my grandma and just training every day so hard. So I was really, really ready. And that's what I was getting back talking to Brown today. When he came back in 2001, he won the title. But I remember watching him that year, and it was the same as me. Like, he was super gnarly where in the supercrosses, he wouldn't clear the triples all the way to land right on. He just do it again the next lap and the next lap and the next lap. He was really, determined.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Felt the same way in '99. So I think that, yeah, I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder.
I like that. I got Jacob has put hard work. That's my line. I remember all the Supercross and Motocross. How did you choose the number 711? I knocked a one off. Not as fast, obviously. What was your favorite other racer? So he's asking about your number 711 that we remember all well.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a weird story. I was number 7 when I was really little on the little Ital 50, and my brother was 11J, and so just going in amateur, that I have a 3-digit, and that's kind of how it came about. And since because I actually had that in 1989, that was the first time I used that. It was at the World Minis. I was racing actually Imig, Brian Swink, and those guys, and the B. I think even McGrath was there, but. That's how that number kind of came about. So then when I came back to the US, I had to have a 3-digit number because I'd been in Europe for so long. So I just go, well, let's go with 711. But instantly in that moment, racing Carmichael and passing him, I mean, that
Cool.
world, that was because it'd be like, I told Max, it'd be like beating Jet Lawrence at like Paula. Like, he had never lost a moto there, so to reel him in and pass him, just everybody was so, when you win so much, then everybody wants somebody else to beat him, and that's the way it was at that moment.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I actually watched some of that coverage last night to check it out again, and there's a picture of you and Ricky on the screen there. I've got a bit of video coverage that I'm going to show the guys once you've gone off anyway, and some of that is to do with you and Ricky, so it's on YouTube, which is pretty cool. So we'll check that out once you've gone.
Yeah, that's really nice nowadays for us older guys, and I get to talk to a lot of them, but you can still live a little bit through YouTube.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, like, once you're done, the kids don't remember, nobody knows, but at least you can, even to my, to Max, I have that clip of passing Carmichael on speed clip there. Like, if I got to yell at him, like, hey,
Yeah.
I
Check this
passed
out.
him, and I had to race Stephen Everett. Yeah, they're kind of good.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah.
It was a proper error, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a couple of cheeky little old ones here. I hope they're right. I've see a couple. If you can spot that, is that you on the 86? Is it on the far side?
No, that's funny you say it. No, that's actually Steve Lamson. I'm inside there. I think I can't even see the number there. Is that 69 or something?
Oh yes, maybe a 63. I don't know, 60 something. Yeah, so that's you down the inside.
Yeah,
right,
okay. With here, that's Steve Lamson, 96 on the outside. So I used to race him locally every year. was kind of crazy because he was the only kid that basically, when you win a lot, like people start quitting and they just don't come back. But him and his family, they would come back every year, and eventually he beat me a moto or some laps and in a moto, and amazingly he became one of the winningest
Yeah,
motocross.
125. Yeah, on the 125, he was brilliant on the Honda, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's
Is that,
that's a long time ago. That was 1987. I almost feel like that. Yeah, that's Ponca City in '87, I believe. Amateur.
pulling out a few older ones here.
Yeah, that was a great year. So that was 1990. I was on a race tech. He was building my bikes and even cutting my pipes for me. And that year, that's when I was running, second. Or sorry, I was running third in the nationals. I was beating Emig, was the factory Kawasaki rider, almost every race. And yeah, it was amazing that year. It was kind of like a breakthrough year for me. It was
that bike good?
That bike really good. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I remember that helmet. I ran that helmet most of that year, 1990.
Love that.
Visor, but it got broken off, so I just stickered it up.
Just sticking it back up with this thing.
This is pretty crazy, but if you look up 1990, I think it's Mount Morris or High Point video, just racing with Bale. I literally, in the second moto, you can see my shirt. I penciled the number 80, like with a big black marker, and filled it in. So my number on the back was just one I drew on there.
Was it? I love that.
Literally, Bale passed me with like a lap to go, or I would have won the national that year.
Oh man,
It was
I loved all these advertisements that were in the magazines back then. They were always so cool.
Yeah.
There was the Fox ones, all sorts of ones that were iconic. But it's so cool. The retro colors.
Yeah, that's
okay,
right.
Look. See, look, you had pink before it was even in.
Yeah.
Another one there. Is that see Antoinez in it, and Larocco? Is that Danny Stevenson, Larry Ward?
That was my first year on that factory team.
That's pretty cool. Love these cards as well. That people got these cards. Even I've got some of these.
Yeah.
What was that Suzuki like, Talon?
What's that?
What was that Suzuki like?
That Suzuki was good. I mean, in 1990, I did win one Supercross. I won.
Yeah, I saw.
I won Tampa, but I was struggling that year. I mean, I was privateer, but I remember getting on that bike and just testing with the team, and I got so good in the whoops, and I ended up winning like the East-West shootout with. There was McGrath and Swink, and there was East-West shootout, and so I was fast on that Suzuki, but I ended up dislocating my shoulder a little bit later in the season, and that's where I had to get it operated on, and I was not racing right in the time when teams make their decisions, which is about May, June. And when you're out in front of them and at the bar, you just don't get signed. It's just the way it goes.
I got Nigel Shackles here. I was going to mention something about teammates. So he's put, was there a rider that you didn't get on with, and why?
I'm trying to think. I didn't really have any big beefs with anybody, So, and especially in Europe, we are competitors. I had a few years there where it was just like Stefan, me, and Beveris. I think like 95 and 96, a little bit 97. Di Maria kind of got in there. But those guys were. You're competitors. You don't really. I don't say hate them or anything, but you know how it is when you're at that moment. Trying to get every little competitive advantage that you can, but I never had any issues with anybody.
So you always had good relationships with teammates. Talon, was there a favorite teammate that you had that you got on with really well?
Being Stefan's teammate was good. Like, he's just super quiet. I like people that they don't talk shit or they try to mess with. They just do their job and you do your job, and that's it. And that's kind of what it was when we were on Yawn,
I've got someone on here. I think his name's. He's been on before. Oriol, his name is. He's from Panama, and he said he was at that Guatemala GP that you won.
Oh, really? Yeah,
pretty cool.
I don't know what the hell the deal is, but when you get near your house, not that it's near my house, but America, I don't know. Like I won the 2 GPs. I won like 4 GPs, I think, overall in my career. But 2 of them I won was in Venezuela and one was Guatemala. I don't know why. And even I think, I don't know if it was Zacho or maybe no, it was the other kid. The kid's dad doesn't he run like Monster? And it was just a few years ago actually. And he won when he was in South America.
Someone will know. Someone's going to write it in the comments. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We've got so many guys with knowledge on here. They love it. They'll come up with it in a minute and I'll bring it up. Ben Rumbold here, Talon, has put, hi, Talon. Great to see you looking so well. Can you tell us what your thoughts are on Foxhill? Glad he's saying that because I told you about my home track in my home town. Any particular standout memories for you from the British GPs? And what do you think about Foxhill?
God. Well, Foxhill's okay, but I mean, this is almost like the worst memory. It was 97. This is a bit of a story. So in 96, I did pretty good on the Jan team and I ended up signing with Rinaldi. And so I made some money. And so when I got that money, I finally bought myself a new van. I think it was about 40 or 50 grand. It was very expensive. I dropped it off in Belgium, had it all built, beautiful, brand new van. So I got this thing for the next few years. So I had to park near the Milan airport, but because it was a kind of a high top van, I couldn't park at the airport. So I had to go park out in the neighborhood. And I thought, oh boy, well, I went out to park and I seen this guy's watching me and oh shoot. But I got to catch my flight. So I don't, okay, well, I'll park it way over here. So I went way somewhere else. And I'm thinking it might get stolen. So I took all the paperwork with me out of the glove box. And so then I went to Foxhill and I think me and Tortelli and somebody, I kind of crossroads. So you come down the start, make a right, and there's a couple tabletops. And I crossed on one and kind of came at an angle, and Tortelli just hit me wide open. We both crashed, and I think there was a big pile of like 3 or 4 guys. And I remember getting up, my knee was like, I could feel my knee coming apart when I'd hit jumps. I'm like, oh my God, my career's over. My knee's destroyed.
No way.
Ended up not being destroyed. It ended up just being stretched and hurt. But getting back now flying to Italy, I could barely walk. So I go, okay, Tyson, I'll go out there and get the van. Well, I go back, the van's gone. Gone.
No way.
Van's gone, yeah. And then it's a bit of a story I don't want to get all into, but there was somebody I had under their name in Belgium. They were supposed to have insurance on it. I did have insurance on it, but when I called him and said, hey, I just want to get our story straight before I call the police and tell them this is stolen so I can get some insurance money, he goes, I'll call you back. Calls me back. Sorry, I didn't put theft on it.
Oh my God.
So literally, $35,000 gone.
No way.
So that was a super gnarly story. So one thing I'll say is like dealing with Max, doing this again.
Yeah.
How bad he does either in a race or something like this happens. I usually have a worse story I can share with him to at least try to say, hey, like it's not the world, shit happens. And horrible.
That's not cool.
You get.
So I've actually weirdly got a picture of you at Foxhill in the background now on the Rinaldi Yam. I've just put it on the front now. There it is. There, look. But
yeah, that was. I don't remember how I did 90. I just remember 97 because it was such a brutal thing that happened to me, losing the van and blowing my. It was a tough deal, and I was just coming back from the injury. Where did I crash at? Chingley. Fast. I was fastest lap time on Saturday. I think I was just a few points behind Stefan going into that race, and I just came down that hill and broke my shoulder.
So I'm just putting that on the screen. So you obviously come off the JHK Kawasaki, went to the factory Yamaha Rinaldi team. What was that bike like when you first got onto that?
Yeah, so let you know, like I learned a lot around the teams too, but because we did have Chesterfield, a lot of times first come into a team, it seems like they, everybody's gung ho, new effort, and that was amazing. We went over to Japan, and they just did small details like where the shock goes up in the frame, right? Well, they built the frame more centered because normally the frame's a little bit to the right, so the air box could go around the shock, but our factory frame was centered, and man, and even I remember too testing us like an axle that went through the swing arm pivot point, and it was like a millimeter thicker, and you wouldn't think that like, okay, yeah, put it on. Oh my God, it was like putting a whole new set of suspension on it. The bike was just so much more solider coming into corners. I just remember small things like that. Like,
yeah.
Like, God dang, I remember my dad when we were riding like without sponsorship, he cleaned the bike up and you got to train harder. You got to do all this and that. then you start to test and you start going 3 seconds a lap faster or 4 seconds a lap faster by the end of the day from when you got there, because the bike's just, and then you're like, what the hell was I doing? I mean, it's important, wrong, but good bike setup and all that stuff is so critical, you know. You start to learn that when you're testing.
I got a weird fact that Sumi helmet, I think that's how you pronounce it, Sumi. But that helmet you got on there, we had bullets on one side, American flag on the other. I had one of the first ones in the UK at the time.
They sold so many of those things. So
yeah, very cool.
I was one of their first high-paid riders. So one of the things I did when I went to Rinaldi, I was able to do my own gear. So one of the things that I did is when I did my gear deal, like with the Chirbies, I would have them also, I'd say, okay, well, I get this money, but I would also like a guarantee of advertising, right? So I want 3 full pages, guaranteed, win, lose, or draw. I don't care if I'm hurt. Okay, yeah. So then I would go to City Boots and I go, City, look, I'm asking you this money and it's a little bit on the high side, but I'm guaranteeing you 3 full-page ads from a Chirbies that are going to have your boots on me, you know? So So then I would leverage that and say, but I want 2 ads from you guys. Then I went to Swoman and go, I have 5 guarantee ads. And I would ask them, you know, maybe I was worth 15. I would ask 20 and I would be able to get it. But I want 3 ads out of you guys, because it's not how big you are. It's how big people think you are, right? Or how promotional you are. But the more people see you, that's the more promotional that you are. It's even
100%. Yeah.
Back in the day, that was like the basic stuff. But now you see these kids like Deegan and these social media kids coming up that I guess not a great example because he's also a super good rider, but kids that maybe aren't winners, but they still have a high value because they help sell product. They can reach a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. What was that like when you went into and then you obviously went into the second year and it was the Rinaldi Yam went all like blue and looked like that. What was it any different? Was it better or was it the same bike or?
No. So what happened was when we had Chesterfield, and like I said, first year everybody's excited. We went to Japan, we tested. Well, basically when Chesterfield pulled out, budgets were cut. So we and that year, even on the suspension, we didn't have. It was like a little bit lower level, so we did like some carbon fiber around. They were trying to find ways to make things better, you know, in testing. But you know, it's just one of those things like where the budget's less, you try to do more, but it's just different. And I found that out too. I found out a few things. You know, it sounds weird, but from a rider's perspective, the more you get paid, the better the team. I don't say the better. It's the more invested they are in you. When they're more invested, they work harder. The more people are invested, the more harder they work for you. The less invested, it's easy to let things slip a little bit.
Looks like it was. Is that right? It was Thomas Covington was the American, was it?
Yeah.
And his dad works at Monster.
There
you go. There you go. A couple of them said it.
Yep.
Come up.
Yep. Yeah. On his first race, we're thinking, man, that was same me too when I went to South America. It's like you just feel a little bit more at home, and maybe it's a little bit more difficult or off for the Europeans. And I don't know, it just felt different. I just noticed that.
Pat's just put, did you have a favourite GP at all? Not just the circuit, but the culture and the location, etc. Did you have a favourite?
You know, it finally became Italy just because I spoke Italian. It started to feel like home. It took years. It took me 2 or 3 years just to learn the language and understand and fit in with the mentality and just the way things work. In Europe, there's like I don't say every country, but there's certain ways of doing things, you know, kind of getting into the system. Like the tracks don't even open till 1, where in the US, we get up in the morning at 10, we're out at the track by 12, you're at the gym and you're done, you know, and then you might evening or something. But in Europe, it was different. You go, you know, get up, do your workout, eat your lunch, and then go out training. So it's just, you got to get used to all that stuff. And so I guess I would say Italy just because I felt most comfortable. There was like, it kind of became my home.
So taking it back, how did you get into motocross? I believe your older brother Tyson was riding, so you sort of got into motocross from that way. How old were you when you got your first bike, and what was it?
So it started a little bit farther back. My dad was like basically a local racer. Finally achieved a pro level local. Pro. He just did it when my brother was born. And actually, when he raced, my grandfather watched him, who was his dad, and you know, basically they kind of had a little spat. And my dad's like, "You racing?" And so he went and bought a bike and started racing. So they were both racing. And then when my brother was born, you know, they needed to take that money and invest and him. And actually, we raced dirt track racing. It was a Lodi Cycle Bowl is where we started.
Okay.
Actually, Tyson raced Chris Carr and Doug Chandler in his class when he was coming up. But then there was an accident where two brothers were racing, and one of them ended up getting killed. I don't know the complete story, but my mom was like, "Hey, we ain't doing this anymore, this kind of racing." So my dad, we went to dirt bikes or motocross, and stopped doing the dirt track racing. But coming to me, it's just kind of general. I'm the second one, so I just always got the hand me down. So when his bike, new bike, I'll get the bike with the blown out fork guards or fork seals or whatever. But
Oh no.
when you're young at that age, you just like to have fun. You're going to do the stuff with a family. That's what we're doing.
What was the sort of age that you got to then, Talon, as a youth rider, where you sort of thought I can actually make a a career of this and be pro? What sort of age was that you thought, yeah, I can do this?
I think it was about 13 or 14. I always seemed to work hard, and I was always getting up early, trying hard. Sometimes I feel like when you're the second born, like you get less, so you try harder. But I don't remember. There wasn't like a moment where I'm like, I'm doing this. I just was working towards it and trying to get a better ride, and the dream was to get a factory ride. And that one year in 1990, when I had such a great rookie season, I actually had offers from Yamaha, and the Peak team. That was the first year they were coming out with the Peak team in 1991. So I had the offer, but it was a weird deal because it was brand new. Peak was just coming in, so they offered me like 15. I think it was 30,000. You take 15 for salary, and 15 you need to pay your own mechanic. So it was kind of a weird hybrid deal. And then you get there going where there's going to be two guys on one box van on the east and two on the west. Where the Suzuki offer was you have your own mechanic, you get paid per diem, you get paid salary. I think it was. I get that year. I think I got 20,000. It wasn't a lot. Maybe in that time it was, but it was full factory, and that was the dream for my dad and mom. Like, and even for us, like just to have your own box van, your own mechanic, you fly in, you have per diem, you're a full factory rider. So I took that deal. In retrospect, I didn't know how fast those pro circuit Peak bikes would be.
Yeah.
Actually,
No, they were bigger, obviously McGrath and all that as well on them, weren't they? And
yeah, McGrath, Swink, Lamson, and Jeremy.
Swain, Lamson, Jeremy Buell, remember that?
Yeah, they were all winning. But
Yeah.
our bikes were actually pretty competitive. It's just like factory Suzuki, on those two strokes, you got to be jetted just right. And if we had everything spot on, we could be very close to those guys. But the window was small. Like if air temperature changed a little bit, then we'd be off. The bike would be bogging or too slow up the triples. Where the Peak bikes were more, they had a lot more flexibility. Anything changed, they still could just hit it in second. They could clear stuff. So their bikes were just that good. They were good even when it was a bad situation. Where ours, if it wasn't spot on, we didn't nail it. It was tough.
So it's a little bit of hindsight. You would have probably gone to Peak.
Yeah.
If you'd have known.
I would, like when you look at your career, you don't know those decisions.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Like, I would have done this or that just because now I know those bikes, pretty much anybody got on, we're winning.
Yeah, definitely. What riders did you look up to and idolize when you were young, and why? And did you ever get to race with any of your heroes or idols at all?
I would say like just Ricky Johnson because he had that cool hip thing, and Bailey. Yeah. Those are the guys you think about. 86, and I was there that night, but I was pretty not really small, but pretty small, and I don't know. That's just who comes to mind. They were like the coolest, I remember the two hip, and I even had a helmet painted. It had like two hip guy on it, just because he was
so cool
when I was young.
Yeah, very cool. Who would you say were your closest rivals over your career? Because obviously you had rivals when you were first in America, then in the GPs, and then obviously when you come back to America again. Who did you enjoy battling with the most? Enjoyed the racing with? You could just go flat out and not take each other out. And
I just felt like the years in Europe was a real clear rivalry with the three of us, especially for a couple of years. So it just got clear. I mean, we could pretty much come from anywhere and be top three, which was Everett's and Beverett's at that time. And then I felt like I had like a little bit of a rivalry or a guy that would piss me off the most was Yves Di Maria, like just such a talented rider.
Yeah.
If he made up his mind, you're pretty much how good you were, you're pretty much screwed. And it was just so. He ended up in the USGP in 1994. I led the second moto till like two corners from the end, and he got me, and it was so pissed. But I did get him some years before in Plum Young. It was 1992. It was the final moto, and I remember it comes to the last lap. And there's this huge off camber, and you only had two lines. You had the very inside. You had to kind of tuck in tight, or you had to go all the way down at the bottom and rail that thing. But once you committed to go outside, you had to go outside. So I remember the last lap. I mean, there had to be 30,000 French fans at this, and they're just screaming for him. And it's all coming down to this corner. And I remember coming down that hill, and I started looking like I was going to the inside, and then I could hear him commit to go to outside, and I just drove straight down to the outside, blocked him, ripped the corner, and then I just had a few more to the finish line, and I ended up, holding him off, kind of like jacking him in his own country a little bit. So I felt like he paid me back 2 years later, 94.
Yeah. Actually, I just remembered one. I remember, I don't know if that was when Everts was on Kawasaki and you were on a Honda. I think you come together with Everts in I think it was the French GP, and he sort of wrote his bike off. Because I remember a video of him going in the track and waving his fist at you. I think it was you. I'm sure it was.
I think that was 94. I feel like I was on
94.
the Honda, like off or something. He was pissed. Yeah, I don't remember what the scenario was, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. This is a good question, actually, from Pat. He's put, if you could go back in time, what's the something that you would tell yourself at 20 years old, 20 years ago, whether it's motor related or life lessons in general? What would you have told yourself in your experiences? Got to tell Max now.
Yeah. No, it's just to be patient, a little bit. I mean, I did in 1992 when I came there. I won Monteva. I beat Schmidt, who's on those guys, and so then the next weekend was an Italian championship, and I set the fastest lap time, and I'm like, I can go faster. So I'm going so crazy fast, just stupid. I just hit this wall and bounced off, crashed, broke my wrist. It was a week before the first GP. It was just stupid. I remember Pichon did something like that as well when he was just coming up. He'd have the fast lap time and he wanted to even go faster. And I think he had a big crash. So I think when if I could go back, especially if I could be there, I'd say, no, you don't need to do this. I mean, one of the things with Max, I totally approached his racing as risk management, right? Like I call it risk management. Like if you go out training, example, and I would always watch if I know he's right where he needs to be or going better than he should be, we just get out of there, and he might not like it, but it's better to leave the track and want to come back than to do that extra moto or do 2 extra motos and end up crashing or breaking your leg or hurting yourself. Those are the kind of things that if I was with myself looking back, I would have definitely managed a lot more of the risk, and that helps you extend your career and keeps you fresher as well.
How much have you been involved with Max's career in general? Do you still have quite a bit to do with it now? And obviously, know you're very busy with your job at service as well. But how much are you involved?
Yeah, quite a bit because eventually some hot girl come and
yeah, take that out of the equation. Yeah.
I try to go quite a bit, and I'm pretty much involved with all decisions just because I just know it's, I don't know. I don't just want to say, like, on these teams, it's not easy, and everybody's minds or reasons or how, and I just have his best interest at heart, and just trying to help guide that train, right? If you're going to do it over again, you want to do it right. So, try to miss those mistakes and keep it coming. I mean, I felt like, it wasn't exactly the way I wanted. I felt like we came in a little bit early. I kind of wanted to play the long game a little bit differently, but I still positioned him pretty well. We have another year on our contract next year, so I feel I knew he was a little bit young and a little bit immature, and a few things have popped up, which I kind of expected him. That's why I needed the only way I was going to do the deal if I got 3 years, and we did, so we were able to do it. Otherwise, I did not do it because I'm just trying to get him there without picking up too many injuries and let him.
But you must be proud. I was watching. Obviously, we see all the Supercross in the UK, and obviously the motocross as well. He's doing really well. I know he had an injury in that, but he's certainly doing well and definitely following in the footsteps well for sure.
Yeah, last year was really good, right? He ended up being Rookie of the Year, and he even started Supercross. I mean, it's difficult not to get hurt in Supercross. I knew that too. This year, Supercross was pretty much a disaster, but he kind of got into that cycle, and you got to be careful about that where you get injured. And then, you know, as an amateur, if you got injured, I could wait until it's 100%, right? But when you're a professional and you're getting paid to race, they want to get you back out on the track as soon as you're able. You may not be physically ready, meaning condition-wise, but you need to get out there and try to work yourself back into it. And that's kind of where we were. And he just, you just got hurt. Then you lose a little bit of speed. Guys are gaining confidence, and you get hurt again. And so he did 3 times of that, and it's like, yeah, it's over. So, but luckily we got it past it, and he jumped into the first national pretty decent, and he has some momentum right now. I would say a lot of people didn't see it, but his last race at High Point for me was like a breakthrough ride. Like, he's had some decent results in the past, but it's been like good starts and maybe fading back to 4th or 5th or kind of battling around there. But at High Point, he started the first moto 13th, and he passed a lot of guys, a lot of really good guys he'd never passed before, and got to 6th. And then the second moto, he crashed in the first turn, all the way back to 9th and very close to 7th. So overall result didn't show it, but what I saw is he's made a good steps, and now we just got to see the next few rounds if he can keep it going.
Yeah, we'll definitely be following that. Very stacked group for sure, in both classes for sure. So definitely exciting to watch these days. Someone's mentioned here about, do you actually ride at all now, Talon? Someone's mentioned about, I don't know if you've probably seen that, I think Ricky Johnson, Villapoto, Mike Brown are all coming over for the Vets MXDN at Foxhill. It's at Foxhill this year. There's changed from Farley to Foxhill. Will we ever get to see you one day? Do you ride at all now, or what's the situation?
I ride a little bit, but it's so hard with my work to get away, you know, like, I don't know, maybe I should consider that, but it's tough too, right? When you go riding, it's like in your mind for the first lap, you so I'm going to rip this, I'm going to do that. And by the next lap, you come around, you're starting to pump up. You can't go as fast as you want. And you just like, by the next lap, you're totally tired and pumped up. Like, shoot. And then there's some young kid that their dad told them about you, then what's going to kick your butt. So it's like,
I know.
He's just ripping by you.
Exactly. This is a good question as well. Pat's put, what's something that the AMA does better than the GPs, and what do the GPs do better than the AMA? Interesting.
I mean, the GPs are really nice, you know, and let me think about the AMA. But I'll tell you, the GPs. Look, some of the things I liked about the GPs compared to what we have here at the AMA is, when you're doing your lap time, there's no clock. Where in the GPs they have a clock right up there, so you can literally see if you're coming by at the last second, you get another lap. You don't know when you're getting at the end of your session that if you're even going to make it over there or not. So you have a lot better idea. So that's something I feel like they need to implement that with the AMA. It would be way better. Another thing I don't like at the AMA is that, and I think this is some of the challenge for like Carioli or any of the riders that are coming over to the US, is that in Europe you usually get a few sessions. You can kind of get a feel for the track, the bike. You have a lot more time to set your lap time. In America, this is insane, but it's literally one lap right now. So you get one lap called wheels down, and when you come by the line the next time, you get a green flag and go, and you have 12 minutes to set your time. So it means you have about 6 laps. And a guy like last year when Max was a rookie, you don't even know the track, so it takes like 3 or 4 laps to figure it out, and you got to get a lap time in the first session, because probably half of the time during the season, the gate pick comes from the first lap time. Because sometimes they overwater before the second session or whatever, and then you can't get a lap time. It's already 3 seconds slower, or it's way rougher. So it's crazy that you have to go out there and basically you take 1 lap and then you pretty much start hauling butt. And so I don't know. It's not good. Let's say that.
Got David Ace, but hello Lee, you are doing an awesome. Thank you for doing this. Really special to talk to Talon. My question for Mr. T, advice on arm pump. Any tricks would be great. Can't wait to see Max win a race. One another thing to ask him is going to be at Millville, Minnesota National, Spring Creek. So I would love to get an autograph from him if he's going. Thanks, Lee, you the man.
Yeah. Well, I would definitely go to Millville. I'm trying to make the rounds if I can, but that one, I really like that one. I used to like it also as a rider. But what was the first question? The first part of the question?
He's just put any advice on arm pump and any tricks would be great.
That's a one. I don't really have a solution. My only riding more. There's no other answer. I would be careful about working out in the gym. I mean, generally for myself, push-ups were okay, but if you start to do ropes or any, pulling or like this, it can start causing you arm pump. A lot of times guys that don't have the time to ride because they're working or whatever, they spend more time in the gym at least because they can run over there in the evenings and get that done. But you got to be careful about that also pumping you up. So you got to kind of find out what works and what might not work for you in the gym on that kind of thing. And then ultimately, if you don't want arm pump, the only way that I learned to get around it is you just got to ride more. The more you ride, the less you pump up. You just got to kind of go through it,
Yeah, ride through it. There you go, David. So it looks like you might get to meet Talon and get that autograph at Millville there. So get down there and check him out.
I'm pretty much KTM tents, if you're going to find me. So that's where I'll be because that's where Max is at.
There you go, David. There you go. Who was the biggest influence on your career and why, Talon?
Well, I don't know if I had any specific rider. I mean, again, Rick Johnson was kind of like somebody I looked up to, but maybe just my dad and grandpa, because they were doing it. That's what we did. And then you just want to try to get somewhere and make something of yourself. So that's what we did.
If I had to pin you down on your favorite race bike throughout your career, I know you was in a lot of cool teams, rode a lot of cool bikes, but was there a favorite bike that you rode during your career? If I had to pin you down on one,
I think that '97 Yamaha was probably the coolest. I mean, it's tough to go against Jan's bike because it was such a good engine. But just going to Japan and just some of the factory parts that we had for that Yamaha were really, really cool, and you could really feel a difference when you rode.
Did you have any favorite racing gear over the years that you wore that you was pretty trick? You had some cool gear that you wore over the year.
As soon as you said that, come to my mind just those years. Sorry, I'm going to move this thing a little bit here.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Charge it here, but the Axo stuff was pretty sick back in the early '90s, right? So when
nice, that was nice.
Even McGrath was wearing some of that stuff, and I had some really cool looking stuff in '90, '92, and '93.
So when you obviously went back from the GPs and back to America, you went on that FMF bike. What was that like? And it looked a pretty cool bike. I'm sure that was something to do with Bob Moore as well, wasn't it? When he finished the GP as well.
Correct. Yeah. So he was my roommate, and we actually lived in the same house in Italy, so we got to know each other pretty well. Went over and I was the manager the year before with Danny Smith, and I'm not sure who was all on the team, McCormick maybe. But he called me at the end of that year saying, Talon, if you want to come back to America, the bonuses over here are like $25,000 to win. And, in Europe, that's unheard of. Like, I think with Jan, it might have been 3,000 guilders or 1,500 guilders. It wasn't much. It wasn't much. It was like 1,000 or 2,000 to win a GP. And I was like, you're full of crap. Send me the contract. And he sent me this contract, and it was 25, I think 10 and 50, 25, 10, and like 5. And I was like, oh my God, no way. So yeah. And the salary was not bad. It was reasonable compared to what I was going to do in Europe, but the bonuses were amazing. So I told Tyson, if we're going to do this, we got to do it now. And that's how that kind of came together. The one thing that I did learn and I negotiated in the contract was to get full factory suspension. So I was able to get Lamson's suspension from the year before when he raced on Honda. So I'll give you a quick little rundown on the whole story. I've told it a few times.
Yeah, cool.
That year in '99, I had to ride Supercross, which obviously I wasn't great at Supercross. I hadn't been racing it for years. And I was struggling a little bit, but I was really also had some problems with that 125 Honda popping and bogging like off triples. And I wasn't happy with the engine. And by the time Daytona came around, I basically quit racing. I told Tyson I can't do it. I just couldn't take that popping and bogging. It was scaring me. And I said, I can't do it. We're done. And I went home for a couple weeks. So literally I quit. Like we quit. Because Tyson's like, yeah, we've had a good career, dude. We did all this, da-da-da. But for a couple weeks, I'm like, man, I got that factory suspension. I know I can beat these guys. And I need to find something with the engine. So I called up Jeff Dement, who was racing SRS in Italy at that time and doing well.
Yep.
And hey, who's the guy? And I talked, I talked to my time to him. I bought my own ticket. I flew over to Italy by myself because I asked him, could I try your bike out? Yeah, you can try it. So I flew over. I tried the bike out, and it wasn't super fast, but it was really no popping, no bogging, consistent. So I asked those guys, could I buy this engine off? And like, well, Talon, we give you the engine, not this same as Jeff, but like our sales engine kit, and you can run that, And I said, yeah, I won't show anybody. But long story short, same old thing. You try to do something secretly. By the time I landed back in America, Hilton Beatty, who was our team manager, already had heard I was in Europe testing and called and said, hey, Talon, if we could also try the engine, and we can also develop it from FMF, but you could run it if you want to, as long as you have FMF pipe and silencer. So that's how it worked out. So I ended up getting those engines for free. Of course, FMF pipe and silencer. And I was good. Like, the bike wasn't the fastest, but it gave me a base that I could just focus on my training. And then I just basically killed myself like no other. And that's where in 99, when I came that day to Glen Helen and passed Ricky, like, I can't even tell you like my mindset. I was super determined to win. And people don't really know the first moto, I crashed in the first turn and then had some bike issues and came back to 6th. But I remember asking my brother, like, okay, who won? And it was Ricky, and then Casey Johnson got second. Like, I can beat Casey Johnson. I think I can win this thing. And that's why it was like amazing. If you watch that video, I was back about 10th when I started. Ricky made his way to the front. He was just pulling away. But then once I got to second, yeah, that's what was so sick about it. I closed down and passed him. It was just people are cool.
Super.
I mean, dude, it was nuts around there. It was a great feeling. And I lived like 2 years off of that, Mitch.
It was pretty special. It was very cool. Like you said, everyone meant mental because no one had got anywhere near Ricky at all. So it was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that was really cool, and it really helped support me for the next couple of years.
Are you allowed to? I'm not sure if you're allowed to say, but are you allowed to say what were the contracts like when you were at Rinaldi and JHK? What were they like in the GPs? What was that when you went?
You mean like about the total amount?
Yeah, and stuff like that. What?
I think it was somewhere around 160,000. I think somewhere around there. Maybe it was a little bit more because I had my gear for free, but I think I just remember something around there because I remember even the year I signed with Mitch, I think I got 170, and then there were the bonuses though, right? So like I won Anaheim, got second at San Diego, so it's like in 2 weeks I made like almost 40 grand. Wow. So I actually made more money in one way when I was in the U.S., but the problem is I didn't incorporate, so I had to pay taxes. So I literally had to write a check for almost 100 grand just in taxes that year.
Jesus.
Where when I was in Europe, because I lived so long in Europe, there were some exemptions, and you could bring in a certain amount of like 70,000 tax free as an independent contractor. And so I took advantage of that a couple of years. And so in one way, like being in Europe, I didn't make quite as much, but I netted just as much.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I did read a little story about that. When you were obviously on the FMF Honda, was it true that I saw something about Ricky Carmichael sort of advised to Mitch to sort of say who was, they were talking about who's signing up next, and that was you because obviously you were the only one.
Yeah, Ricky, because Ricky's going to move up the next year, and so Mitch was. I guess they're in a rent car is what I'd heard from. I think maybe Ricky told me, or I don't remember who told me that, but they were just driving, and Mitch's like, "Who the hell should I hire?" And he's like, "Dude, I'd hire Vohland. He's going fast." So then Mitch did hire me, and we ended up winning Anaheim, and that was a big deal for me because I really sucked the year before at Supercross. But Mitch's program was so strong on bike, and he does little things like when I won Anaheim, the next week I had this like badass cone pipe on or something, and I felt like he does things like that to boost like your ego and your like right at the right time, right? And so it was great.
So I was, like I said, I was just going through the pictures here. It's obviously a mint bike.
Yeah,
very super cool. Did you have any superstitions at all in your career, Talon? Did you have any certain things you had to do, or any gimmicky things, or anything you had to do?
I mean, I think riders always fall into that. Like if you always want to replicate what you're doing, right? If you're doing something successful, I was always trying to do that. I mean, I remember being young, training, and I would record myself like what I did this week, and then if I won that week, I'll go back and listen and try to do the exact same thing again. It's so weird. You can get mental about that stuff, but from socks or underwear or whatever, and you won it with it twice, so you got to just keep wearing that color, even with gear. I mean, look at Ricky that year he first won that title. That first year he would not wear anything but orange.
That's brilliant.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
He won
Yeah,
like 13 rounds of Supercross. He wore orange, I think it was orange fox gear or whatever.
yeah.
So everybody kind of gets into it. It's hard not to,
Yeah,
right? Because you always want
yes.
to keep the luck going.
You didn't have to smash one of these brand new spray jobs on the ground or anything that some of these guys do. I'm not into that one.
No, I do though. Like, yeah, you always got to do a little helmet tap. Right? Everybody does that. Yeah, that's true, right? You get a brand new helmet for sure, you'll crash right on that freaking thing. So
I know.
I don't know, it's weird, but yeah, you do feel like that.
Can you remember, like, what was the best track stroke event, whatever that was the best atmosphere that you've ever rode in? You remember?
Like the best event?
Yeah, like the best atmosphere of the crowd and the noise and the air horns, that type
That's
of thing.
an
What was
easy one for me. I never got to ride the D Nation, so I suppose that would be
Mm,
the ultimate. But the
yeah.
next ultimate for me was always the Saporiti Fast Cross. That thing was just Italian fans were crazy there, and the way they treated you, and I mean, it was awesome, and it was wild there, you know. And then after the race, they let all the fans down, and you'd be on the water truck spraying people, and it was just really crazy. And so I think that's the next best thing. And the other one that was really good was at Plumyong in 1992 in France. Like France has tons of fans too, so that was a really good one that I remembered.
Martin's put about there. What about Paris-Bercy Supercross? Did you like the event, and was it good prize money?
I wasn't that good at Supercross, so even when it was
Mm,
in Europe, I went there like in '93, and I just sucked so bad. I'd crashed so many times. It doesn't feel happy or a good experience for me. Later in my career, I got better, and I did win like Bologna Supercross and some different smaller Supercrosses, but I wasn't a Supercross specialist or anything. So yeah, it wasn't really actually that fun because I just crashing.
Obviously, you guys get a lot of riders have a lot of injuries. Obviously, we all know it's part and parcel of the sport. But was there certain injuries that you had at certain times that you think maybe maybe stopped you achieving more things in the sport as well with certain injuries?
Well, for sure, concussions in the end was
Mm,
what started really finishing me off.
yeah,
I got a really bad one in 2001 before I came back to my Europe last year. It was the first time I'd gotten knocked out, and then I got knocked out again in like let's say a 1 month period. So it's called like a double concussion, and I was just had like vertigo, like my head was dizzy for like a month.
oh,
Which I'd never had something like that in my career. But I'd already had a lot of concussions, so maybe it was building up, or maybe it was because I got two in a short amount of time. But that's when the alarm bells started going off. Like, okay, this is not good. And then just things. I feel like your career is kind of like a candle, right? And you burn, but then you get a certain part of your career where you're burning hot and fast, and that's like the peak of your career. And then you finishing it off, and when you get down to the end of the candle, you just know too much.
Pat's put there, if there was a team that you were offered a contract but declined and wish you accepted, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You sort of mentioned Peak Honda there. Was there any other teams that you got really good offers off that in hindsight you maybe would have changed that at another time?
No, that was really the only one because
Mm,
obviously the Honda group came up good. That was 2 years, and Rinaldi two
yeah.
years. They had the Peak Honda, the FMF Honda, and then the Mitch 2 years, and yeah, then I did the team in England. God, what I can't think of that, but my
Church.
Image Church, yeah. So
Yep.
that
I know
that
them
was,
guys. Yeah. There you go.
but yeah,
It's on screen.
they treated me really well, and yeah, there's Reggie, and then Paul Trevathan, the mechanic, that was one of the main reasons I went there. Is he was my original mechanic over at Yon, and he was
Yeah.
in there, and so that's how I ended up coming over there.
Was that bike? What was that like? Because obviously you've just come off the pro circuit team as well. So
Yeah, it was tough, because MJ was trying. He was trying hard, but it was basically like a Team Green type program out of England. So it wasn't in
yeah.
parts, right? So they're trying to make stuff, and they had a dyno, and they were working on it. But it's back to that old thing that once you've been there, you almost know too much, right? So then you start realizing that Mashio had the new 2003 bike, which is a completely new bike. And sometimes when the new bikes come out, they're not the best, but sometimes they're also really good. And, just being on the factory team, they just have a lot more parts and things to work with. And so it was just a little more challenging. And it just makes it difficult because it's again, when you're young, you try really, really hard. You get older, it's harder to try hard. and you already know too much. So it's like you're killing yourself to get sixth, where you used to, be able to kill yourself and get second or first. Sixth was like my best result when I was, a couple years younger. Sixth would be like my worst result.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It just starts getting tough and pretty soon, like I'm over it.
What other sports do you enjoy watching or even doing, Talon, over the years? Has there been certain other sports and stuff you like as well?
No, I don't. I mean, we like BMX. Max did that for a while, and that was pretty cool. But I don't really. I mean, I like basketball. NBA basketball is pretty cool, but I'm not like a super fan or anything. Or I don't go out of my way or this team or that team. I'm so busy with the company that I'm pretty much into that, and then also following Max and my daughter. My daughter's into horses and she jumps horses and stuff, but nothing like super professional level. But just stuff that we enjoy.
I was going to ask you, because I do the interviews with all the Speedway guys and the motocross guys. Did you ever go to Speedway at all?
No, I didn't.
No.
But God, there was a guy. I think his name was Cook, last name Cook, and he came over to England and done really well. And we met him at the BMX track.
John Cook, maybe?
Yeah, John Cook. That's
yeah, cool.
Yeah. So
he's cool.
his kid was at the BMX track, and I remember talking to him, and yeah, he was really a good guy.
He had a nickname, the Cowboy, and
yeah,
he was a cool character. He was really cool.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, he was a good one. So obviously, when you had your brother Tyson as your mechanic, and that did that make the whole thing a bit more special that you were doing that together, and obviously you had the full trust in each other and all that sort of thing?
So Tyson wasn't actually my mechanic, so he was just with me when I was in Europe, and even when I came back to the U.S., and he would run my pit board.
Yeah.
And I did that because I feel like you're kind of like a team. You're battling against the other guys, your competitors. Oh my God, I get so many messages. But he would know, like, I just give you an example. He would know, like, if I'm sick all week or what struggles we're dealing with, or everything's good. So this is the week we need to make up points. So we would try to manage our championships, world championships like that, or even in the U.S. So you got to kind of pick your battles, pick your days. And that's where, like, having a tight group, which in our case, it was just me and him, outside of even the mechanics of the team, like, we knew what we were doing each day and what we were trying to achieve each day. And so just trying to manage this championship. And in fact, like in 99, a lot of people don't know this, but we went all the way down to Unadilla, which was 8 rounds in. I think I was within 7 points or 14 points of Ricky, 8 points, eight rounds into the Nationals. So, we did manage that really, really well. And even with Everett and those guys, we would, you just trying to optimize points based on how your day is going, how you feel this day, and how the bike's going, and just everything. And so that's why I used him, because we would have like our own little strategy, and even through the pit board.
I think I was watching I'm going to show that video after you've gone off, and your brother come on. They interviewed him like they used to, didn't they? While the race was going on, they didn't. So obviously, I see him in the pit board, and I thought, was he your mechanic as well? Or was he just doing the pit board? But
yeah,
it was cool.
A mechanic, which is kind of weird. I can imagine trying to get away with that nowadays.
yeah, exactly.
If I went to Roger and said, "Hey, I'm going to be Max's pit board guy," be like, you get out of here.
yeah. That's something I could probably do about it.
I wish I could, but no way.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Who was your closest friends in and around the paddock? Did you have a lot of the riders that you were close friends with at all? And was that difficult once you got on the track, or was that just no problem at all?
No, man, that's where Lone Wolf came from.
Exactly.
I didn't get to finish that, but that was, that's how it was, because those guys would all hang out and do their things down in Southern California. I was in Northern California, and even 99, I did all my own training on my own. Like, I'm with Max here and there doing their things, Alden Baker, and all the kids are training now together and that. And it's like, I don't know. I felt like I think Jeremy Martin's like that. Like, he does his own thing. I was just self-motivated and wanted to kill him every day. So I think, the new generation, they just don't know what real work is.
Were you frustrated? Were you frustrated in the GP? So obviously you had the couple of times you were third, but you were definitely, you were there, always winning, and they're always in the top 3. You was close quite a few times, and then obviously you maybe had a few injuries here and there. I remember you on both of them. Was that frustrating for you? Because I feel that you could definitely have been world champion for sure. You had the speed for sure. Obviously, everything's all got to come together, as we know, in a year, which is not easy to do at any time. But
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how you start to decide even what you're doing with your career, because if I was going to win, I would have won. I mean, that's why there's only one guy that wins. It's not easy
Yeah,
to do. And,
exactly.
I would say that something was a little bit wrong, because it sounds weird. You don't consciously want to crash or make these mistakes, but somehow they happen. And so after some years, I mean, many years, I was leading the Supercross championship when I was on Mitch's team. I was leading the world championship in 97, also in 95. But then something happens. It's almost like you go over your head. It's like, I felt looking back on my career, sometimes I'd make it harder than it was. So if I was leading, I got to do more. I got to do better instead of being more patient. And so after some years of those, because you have to work really hard and you take a lot of risks, you start to decide, hey, okay, I'm going to make as much money as I can, but I also got to be careful and get out of here and move on. And so that's how it was right at the end of my career.
If you could re-race a meeting or an event in your prime, what bike and track would you go back and do that on if you could do that?
Oh, if I could choose to pick a race.
And a bike, yeah, team.
Yeah, well, it would probably be Chingley 97. Coming down the hill, somehow I could avoid that, or just say, okay, well, let's take the win on this race,
Yeah.
and that would have been a lot nicer, because once you're out, you're out. So that year I'd worked really hard. I was pretty solid. Even I think I tied points with Everts at Valkenswaard. I mean, that's insane. And then I won Spain that year, so I was really on my game. I felt good, but again, it seemed like sometimes I felt like in my career, the times I didn't think I would win, I'm just trying to get through it, I would win a race. And the times I thought I had them covered, I'd end up doing some self-sabotage thing that I don't even know what the hell it came from. I mean, in that year in Unadilla, I was the fastest. I was like 2 seconds a lot faster than Ricky on Saturday practice. And everybody's coming up, you got it, you're going to win, And I'm like, yeah, I got it. And then, crash. Same thing in Chingley that year. Tortelli and Everts, I set the fastest lap time in practice Saturday. And then I had the first pick on the gate and everything, and then crash in the race. So I don't know, something a little bit missing there, but I guess that's why winning's not easy.
Yeah. Do you think it was like almost like, because you were always balls out? Do you think it was like a sort of patience thing, or just shit happens sometimes because everyone crosses at any time?
No, I think it's a patient thing.
Yeah, patience thing. Yeah.
I feel like, just looking back, when I was young, I would train super, super hard, and always my dad would be there like, and this is where I try to do the opposite with Max, but my dad would always be like, he'd be like standing next to me when I'm on this trampoline running, and it's going to be hard. You got to do harder, push harder. It's going to be hard. And it's almost like it was so, these are psychological things, and you're still never 100% sure. But sometimes I would go, why did I throw it away? Why did I throw it away? You don't even know what happens. But sometimes I think back that I made it harder in my head than it actually was. If I was winning, it had to be harder than this. And somehow I'd make it harder by crashing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's not sure.
I'll only ask you a few more because I know you're a busy guy, and I do appreciate your time, buddy. I really appreciate it. It's very, very cool to be able to speak to you. If I had to push you on this, who would you consider to be the 3 best riders that you've ever raced against in your career? Why?
Well, that was pretty easy, right? Because we got Ricky and then we got Everts. Trying to think of I mean, Beverts was super gnarly too. I felt like he was a bit like me. Like, the guy had all the talent, super gnarly grit. But when it came down to those moments where he needed to close it out, something would happen. He'd fly off the track, or he was switching bikes, and there was just a lot of stuff, But he was also another guy who was super, super gnarly.
Yeah, he definitely was. It was crazy. You guys were like gladiators. If you could give any advice to any youngster out there, this youth guy that's going to look to go pro, what would your advice be to those guys that are looking to go professional?
Just a lot of work, manage risk if you can, and just be patient and be smart, try to make good decisions. But I always just say now in our sport, manage risk. That means you don't always got to do more. Sometimes doing less is better. It sounds weird, but that's what I've tried to do with Max. And just sometimes I feel like he's a little on the cautious side, but I would rather have a guy like that, because it just means that if he's not winning or doing good enough, just means he needs to work more. I'd rather have a guy that's just good than a guy that's a little bit crazy and taking risks. You know what I mean? If you're good, like, I feel like Dungey's just good, right? Like, the guy is so good that if he gets a bad start ever, he's still going to make his way to the top 3. That's where you want to be. You want to be that guy.
I love this as well. My friend Wayne Davis has put Yo Lee. He's put Talon was a great rider, was all action, but he put everything into it and never gave up. I loved watching him.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's true. I still feel like even when I'm around, Max or these kids, it's like, I don't know, dude, you got to do more. You got to do more. But I don't know. I'm the dad. Dad's probably always like that. But.
Yeah. I was going to ask you before you went as well about obviously all these electric bikes. You've probably seen Tortelli on that Stark bike and things like that. Have you got to have a go on one? What do you think about all that and the future with that type of thing?
Yeah, I don't know if people follow Max on social media, but during the pandemic, we ended up buying one of these, the KTM, I think it's EXC, but it's full electric. And then we turned it into like a full-on motocross, pretty much put some of his factory suspension off of the 85 on there. And that thing, we love those things. And the cool thing about that, and I have to say, I'm in sales now with the Chirbies.
Yep.
I think that it's really expanded our base, meaning more people on 2 wheels than ever, from these little Stasic bikes to these little KTM Husky and gas bikes to then regular full-on dirt bikes, so it's never been better. And now you have all these e-bikes too, who are potential customers moving over, eventually transitioning to a dirt bike. Yeah. So I feel like there was a gap in the mid 2016-15 where we kind of like the older generation was getting older, but we didn't have any new young kids. But now a parent can come home anywhere, grab their kid and go across the street where they couldn't ride because too noisy, and put in a few laps and create that passion that we all, want, like, and need as companies to keep going. So I think the electric bike thing is amazing, and I think it's going to grow. The way that I see it is, and I'm not sure if it'll be like this, but I think that the general customer and most people can have electric bikes, but supercross and motocross will still, I hope, be, like a 450 or 250, but it'd be like Formula One. Like very few people get there. General public gets to ride and do electric bikes, which we have a huge base because of that. They can all come and watch, but just very few will make it to the top level, which would be when you're in supercross on a gas engine. I hope it'd be like that. Otherwise, how the hell do you watch an electric bike? You just you're yelling at them, faster, screw you.
Yeah, you can proper hear them. Yeah, that is about the only weird thing about it. But like you said, especially in the UK, we lost a lot of tracks and things like that because of noise pollution and all that sort of stuff. So it does give a lot more options from that point of view, like you said.
I'll tell you with Max, we went over to my old stomping grounds and nobody could ride there anymore because of noise. But it's all still whooped out and rough, and we would go there and we'd go there 2 or 3 times a day, charge up, he'd do 40 minutes, come back, charge up, work, go back. I mean, it was only like, the nice thing is it's only like 5 minutes from the house. You just throw it in the van, you go over there, unload your bike, do your riding, and come back. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And like I said, like even little BMX tracks, now the kid can go home and ride his dirt bike. His dad comes home from work, rides his dirt bike, comes back, eats his dinner, and does his homework, and you still got your motos in.
It's a good positive thing as well that the way you're talking about it, like Kevin's just said, a positive outlook on it, because quite a lot of like the old school guys, they're into the 2 strokes a lot more now in the UK, bringing all that back and stuff, and they're sort of like, oh, no way, and quite against it in ways,
We got to think about the future, and we got to think about the base meaning more customers, more passion for 2 wheels. The more people we have passion for 2 wheels, the more our industry is going to expand from sales to, guys riding bikes. And I just think that there's now a great opportunity. And I'll tell you, just I know from our numbers of what's going on, we really have expanded the base. Now there is a recession coming, this next year, 2023, 2024, that'll be a little bit tough, but I don't think it's going to be as tough as it was during the last recession in 09, 010, because we have a much bigger base. So even though people are going to be struggling to pay because inflation is really high right now, I think it'll still be okay. It's still going to be okay. It's just not going to be as good as it was during the pandemic.
Well, I really appreciate your time, mate. An hour and a half for you is super cool for me. Loved your career. Loved seeing you in the flesh at the GPs. It was awesome. And to get you on is really cool, mate. I really appreciate your time, Talon. Thank you very much, buddy.
It's going to be great. I think that we'll be back in Europe at some point if we get Max good at the D Nations here in a few years. It'll be kind of cool because we always watch it in Liam too, racing with his dad.
Yeah, Liam. Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah.
we figure one of these days. We actually did come over and race him, which he won that day. And what was it? There was in England there in is it Matterley Basin?
Matterley Basin, yeah.
Yeah.
GPs, yeah.
So that was really cool. But I'm sure that him and Max will race again here in the future at some point. So that'll be sick if we come over to Europe and get the race and hang out with Stefan. It'll be cool.
I was going to say to you just before we went as well, Wesley, is that ever on the radar with you guys to ever similar to you come to Europe possibly at some point, maybe GPs or?
Well, it definitely was, before the pandemic, but I think it would probably happen, if we came to the D Nations, or you never know what the future holds. I mean, if things go sideways, or, it's kind of weird too, having the age group thing over there. Like, so who knows? Who really knows? Here it's so different because I kind of feel like one thing on the GPs, I'll say, I guess we were talking about that. And I didn't really say anything bad about the GPs. I was more about things they could fix on the AMA, but on the GP side, seeing so few riders now in the 250 class is not so nice. Wow. I would like to see them open that up because that's another. Yeah. I was hearing rumors around that Vial is coming over. I think that of course he's a great rider, but he's going to find it crazy having 40 dudes. You're lapping guys.
Yes,
it'd be pretty gnarly.
And like I said, Talon, I've said to a few guys, like you wouldn't have had the Puzars and the Chodis, wouldn't have won the 125 world titles, those sort of things. You wouldn't have been able to go back to America. All these, if you have all these age gaps, I prefer it to be all opens because some guys just not cut out to go on a bigger bike, for instance, but they're pushed into it, for instance.
Yeah.
Don't like that. No.
Over here, it's pretty gnarly. Max is 18. He's racing guys like Christian Craig and all that. They're 30 years old.
Yeah,
but
various guys.
You got to climb up to the top. When you get to the top of that group, you're finally there. You're at the top, and you'll be making good money. So that's just the way it is.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep following Max with interest for sure. So it'd be cool to do.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks very much, Talon. Thank you very much, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show these guys these highlights of your racing when you're gone.
Awesome. And well, thank you everybody who participated and checking it out. It's you get my age now. Not as many people remember, so it's really nice to get involved and just. I mean, me and Brownie were over at the coffee shop talking some old stuff today. It's pretty cool.
I'm trying to chase him, so if you see him, give a good word. I've got to try and get Brownie on. I've spoke to him a few times.
Oh, cool. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll definitely like to get him on, 100%. Thank you very much, buddy.
All right, guys.
Awesome today. Really appreciate it. Top man, legend. Thank you, mate. Cheers, Talon. Awesome. What a legend. Love Talon. Beautiful. Right, guys, I've just got a few highlights for you. I'm going to show you the 1995 World Motocross Championship in the 250, where Talon's on the JHK. He was leading after the first 6 rounds against your Evertses and your Bavorts and Demaries and all that. And then I'm also going to play the Ricky Carmichael thing, where he you got the battles with Ricky Carmichael when he went back to America after his GPs on the 1252 strokes. I'm also going to play that as well. So I'm just going to play a sort of 5-6 minute clips here of the Talon in the 95 World 250 World Championship that he was looking odds on to win at that point. I know he had a couple of crashes and some injuries, but check it out anyway. We're just going to play it for you.
In the second moto, Andrea Bartolini had whole shot, but a few corners on, Tallon Vohland took the lead. During the whole race, Italian Bartolini attacked the Silkeling Kawasaki rider, but Vohland stayed in the lead. Vohland said, "This is the best thing that could happen to me. I felt no nerves at all. I was just thinking about the race. This is, thanks to Kawasaki, what I've been working for, winning. I'm now leading the World Championship, and I want to stay there till the end of the season." Stefan Everts had a good start but dropped back, admitting that he was driving badly and out of form, but determined that the World Championship was not over for him. The overall standings after round 4, Tallon Vohland first on 102 points, Stefan Everts third on 93 points, Remy van Ries 14th on 24 points. Austria, round 5. Talon Vohland and Stefan Everts, numbers 1 and 2 in the World Championship. Schwanenstadt in Austria hosted the 5th round of the 250 World Championships on May the 7th, 1995. Talon Vohland scored a 3rd and 4th place during the dusty Austrian 250 Grand Prix. And
by the way, I'm going to put it back on, don't worry. You ain't got to look at my ugly bug too long. But how cool do them bikes sound, them 252-stroke factory bikes then. Look at all the names you just saw go by. It was like Bartolini, Demarie, Nicol, Everts. Absolutely stacked to the nuts, which freaks me out when we're watching these 15, 16 riders in the GPs at the moment. Absolutely drives me mad. Looks horrendous. Put some money back in the sport. Get some prize money going again. Get people just entering GPs, getting 40 on the line again, 80 qualifying and all that sort of stuff. Because the stuff we're watching at the moment freaks me out. And it's just nice to go back to this like it was then and see all these top legends racing in that era. It's a shame, but yeah, let's get back in.
he was still leading the World Championship. Stefan Everts scored 5th and 7th, promoting him to 2nd in the standings. Remy van Ries was unable to compete because of a knee injury. Talon Vohland had a good start in the first moto. He was 3rd behind Andrea Bartolini and Paul Cooper. The pace was fast and Talon was happy with 2nd position. Stefan Everts was in 6th position after the first lap. Kurt Nicol passed him, but Stefan stayed.
Our very own Paul Cooper there leading there in Austria, I believe.
To the race. At the end of the race, Bob Moore and Marnik Vervoets challenged Stefan, but it was Stefan who took 5th at the flag. After the first moto, Vohland was
just looking there. I was just thinking, all the riders just went by there. I just put Everts, Nicol, Badermanet, interviewed them all now. Woo! Yeah, baby. Buzz in.
Championship with Everts in 2nd position. In the 2nd moto, both Everts and Vohland made good starts. After a few laps, Vohland passed Everts and was in 4th place. The leading group of Moore, Bartolini and De Witt had broken away and were too far away from the Silkaline Kawasaki rider. But Kurt Nicol was close behind. Vohland held 4th at the finish, but Stefan Everts finished a disappointing 7th. The overall standings after round 5, Talon Vohland 1st with 132 points, Stefan Everts 2nd with 113, and Van Ries 16th with 24 points. Finland, round 6. Talon Vohland strong in Finland.
This is the last part of this, and then I'll show you the American part where Talon and Ricky go head-to-head in a couple of rounds in America. But appreciate the comments. Thank you very much, David K. Yeah, 8 actual GP riders in the last MX2, like Kevin said. Absolutely ridiculous. Exactly that, Wayne. We were always at Foxhill Lee for the GPs. Can never beat the Foxhill atmosphere. Used to struggle to sleep at night. Excited about going to the GP. Yeah, and wet my pants many a time. Going down the valley, speaking to all these riders on interviews, telling you they didn't know what gear they were in and whether they were changing gear down that first valley. How cool was that? Hopefully we can get some sort of mint atmosphere going for this the Vets MXDN at the end of August. For that, that'd be pretty cool. There's going to be some cool riders in that. Looking forward to that. Hi, buddy. How's it going? There he is. Hope all the road racing's going well. I've seen you out on the old bike. It's looking cool. Fair play. Hope Kevin's okay as well. Kevin the dog. Oh, and the missus, of course. Don't get me in trouble. Actually gives you 100%. So we just finished this off. This is I think it's Finland GP. Talon, I think, is winning then after the 6 rounds. Top rider, and then I'll show you the Ricky Carmichael and Vohland battles in America when he went back there after the GPs. I think it was on his FMF Honda, I believe then. But we'll just finish off this GP here.
Santa in Finland welcomed the 6th round of the 250 World Motocross Championship on the 21st of May 1995. Talon Vohland again rode well on the sand track of Ruskia Santa with a 4th and a 2nd place. Vohland had a great weekend and held on to the lead in the World Championship. Teammate Stefan Everts had a good start in the first moto, but his second start was rewarded with a final position of 5th. Remy van Ries rode well in the first moto, but crashed in the second moto. In the first moto, the Team Silkeleen Kawasaki riders made great starts. After the first lap, they were 3rd, 4th and 5th. Vohland, Everts and van Ries in 5th, who made a small mistake allowing several riders to pass, but he held on for 7th position. Behind Borverts and De Witt, there was a race-long battle between Talon Vohland and Stefan Everts for 3rd and 4th place. Finally, Everts passed the American, but Vohland never gave up and stayed with his teammate, only to drop back a place after having trouble with his roll-offs. Stefan found it difficult to pass Talon and lost contact with the leaders. Having to settle for 3rd was not his plan.
Pat, you crack me up. Love the passion. 100%. 40 riders, thousands of spectators, and natural circuits off canvas. Look at that track there, like in Sweden and all that. The Swiss track. What's it called? Can't remember what it's called now. But what's that other one as well in France? Beaucaire. Loved all them tracks. Ernie. I know they go there now, but what's the other one? Is it Payern in Switzerland as well? Loved that one as well. That was mint when it always used to be like the first round of the GPs and stuff, maybe in the 500s, early 90s. How cool was that? But I'd have more fun being abused in prison than attending GPs these days. I won't lie, I forward it on really badly. It's very boring. I normally watch a couple of laps and do that, like, oh, not cool at all. Seeing, like, it's got worse, isn't it? Literally this year, it's gone from like 30 to like, we're sort of slagging off 30 to like 20. And then you're thinking, Jesus, should we all pitch in just for one person to be had enough money to enter one GP and just get guaranteed GP points, just ride round? Jesus Christ. I remember running to the newsagents to get the TMX paper on a Friday, desperate to see where all your mailings and all that were in the top 15. Did they score points and all them guys? And oh my God, now it's horrendous. Thanks, Gary. Cheers, buddy. Can't wait. By the way, anyone that didn't know that's been on tonight, got another proper AMA legend tomorrow with the dogger himself, Ron Lachines. And I've got an hour with him as well. So it's going to be like a flat out, like Talon, balls out all the time. Pedal to the metal, as we might say, tomorrow. I've got an hour with the dogger, so literally going to dog him flat out an hour with Ron Machine. Like, what the hell is going on? How mental. I looked, like I said, I say to people this now and then, I forget who I've spoken to, and it's crazy. It's unbelievable. When I saw these guys when I was a youngster racing motocross in the UK, to think that I was going to get to, you know, like to interview all these guys and have their contacts and emails and phones and just sit there, you know, like, don't want to be too crude on live, but you know what I mean? Get a bit excited. Great job again, mate. Seems a great guy. Maybe we should do a 2-stroke world championship with all the classes. Anything goes. I think they would get full go. Yeah, me and Kev have talked about all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, that's it, Pat. Payern, Roggenberg. Yes. Oh my God. So nice on tracks. I'd love to have rode them. Used to love making up cheeky lines, smooth lines. Oh, all about making the lines. Prison food's much cheaper. Oh, love it. Yes, mate. Ron Lachine tomorrow night. Awesome. Can't believe it. By the way, I chased people that sometimes don't realize that I chased Talon for at least a couple of years. Got his email because he is a proper busy guy with that. So, but as you see, he was doing some emails even when he was doing that interview, and I was like, I know I'm running out of time here. I need to just get a few more in. It's going to be like that tomorrow night, but you got to go for it, ain't you? An hour with Ron Lachine. Like, if you'd give me 5 minutes with Ron Lachine, I would have done things in my own pants. So yeah, really buzzing for that. Also, look, I've chased Mike Brown for a while, so it sounds like Talon's going to hook me up with that. It's pretty much how a lot of it has worked over the times in the couple of years since the COVID. a lot of the contacts, and obviously Stefan helped me out massively when I was advertising his gin and stuff. But I mean, like a lot of the guys, it's, you know, contact to contact, as it is in all sorts of stuff in life, isn't it? Can you smell the elf race fuel? Yum, yes, mate, unbelievable. Farley Castle, 1987. Riders had to qualify, get in the top 40. Totally different today, yeah. 100%. Right, sorry, I was chatting, at me. I just finished off this Finland there. Talon's flat out, burn bashing in the sand in Finland. Leading the series after the 6 rounds, I believe.
Vohland took the whole shot in the second moto. He had a hard fight with sand specialist De Witt and Bavots. De Witt passed Vohland, and later also Bavots passed the fast American. Vohland took second place back when De Witt crashed to drop back to fourth place behind Beira. Vohland was happy to keep scoring points to reach his goal, which is winning the world title. Everts had a bad start in the second moto, only managing to finish 5th, which allowed Bavots to challenge for second spot in the championship standings. The standings, after round 6, Talon Vohland first on 162, Bavots and Stefan Everts joint second on 130 points. Remy van Ries, 16th on 30.
Just caught a glimpse of the lone wolf there on the back of the pants. I think that was UFO kit there on the JHK's days. So right now I'm just going to play the ding-dong battles he had with Ricky Carmichael. No one touched Ricky Carmichael, as we know, on the Pro Circuit 125 two-stroke in them late 90s into the 2000s. But Talon Vohland did, which was really cool after he'd been over in the GP. So we obviously followed him more than ever. So that was very cool that he did that. And we're going to get into some of these battles now here with him in RC in America on the AMA Outdoor Motocross. So you can check this out.
5 is Ramsey. We're ready to go.
By the way, Talon Vohland's on the FMF Honda 711, number 711. Obviously, Ricky Carmichael's on the number 1, and you'll know all the names in between, obviously.
And they're off. Fonseca sandwiched between Sheik and Carmichael. Once again now, it's Nick Way, though, on the inside. He'll get the whole shot. The move completed, but Skaggs shuts the door on him. There's RC right behind Ernesto. A lot of confidence there.
Oh, Ricky already picked off a few guys.
Ricky to the outside. Is Nick?
By the way, don't know what happened there, but by the way, listen to them 125 two-strokes. This is why I needed to have them in the first 2 reunions, and they'll always be in the reunions, by the way. 125 class of 125s, Evo, Super Evo. Teach me.
Zero in on our leader. And so, after Way, we've got Fonseca. Ricky Carmichael moves into 3rd. Robbie Skaggs back in 4th. Brock Sellards in 5th. Talon Vohland in 6th right now.
No, Ricky just went right down the middle of all those bumps. Didn't even care how rough it was, how rutted. I don't know if he realized how hard that is to do. But...
Exactly that, Kev, wasn't it? David Bailey, and was his name Art or Ark? Was it Art? OW Art? He's like, yeah, man. It's just 125s, man. Awesome.
Fonseca, number 100. Ricky Carmichael now looking to the inside. Oh, what? He made it look so easy.
No, he's pulling a tear off before Fonseca knew what hit him. Makes that pass stick.
Incredible, David. And now the battle is for the lead. Nick Way, Ricky Carmichael's teammate, getting all kinds of pressure from number 1. Carmichael has never lost a moto here. Boy, what a string that would be if he went 6 for 6.
Oh, look, Ricky just seems to be able to go anywhere he wants on the racetrack and not lose any time.
Chooses the inside this time. And Carmichael, once again, our leader.
You know, what really helped out was when he hopped out of that rough section into that left-hander. He hopped over the big bump, the one that sort of messed up Nick Way's timing a little bit. He was able to get that nice squared line to the inside and make the pass. He's able to pretty much put the bike anywhere he wants in the racetrack.
3rd place. Ricky Carmichael, Nick Way, number 711. Look out. Oh, ooh, that was close. So Talon Vohland also passes Fonseca as they go down the fast downhill.
Fonseca.
Well, Talon getting a better start here in the second moto than he did the first moto, but there's no denying the speed that he had in that first moto.
Oh, right here. Look at him. just blast past Nick Way.
So Talon Vohland takes over second place with Way trying to hold on to third right now.
We've been looking forward to him all year, to be honest with you, Davey. I mean, we've been riding 5 years in Europe. He's real strong outdoors, and we just didn't get off to the right foot in Supercross. So we took a little time off, did some great training, and I think we'll be ready. I think everybody's going to see a great series this year.
Thanks, Davey. Well, David, it's obvious that both brothers have the same challenge opinion, that they think they can handle Ricky Carmichael and maybe win this championship. Back to the action now in our second moto of 125s. Ricky Carmichael getting a big challenge.
That surprises me a little bit because Carmichael's got this place dialed in, got a good enough start, worked his way into the lead, and I thought he was gone. Here comes Talon Vohland just out of nowhere. Look at how aggressive the kids ride. I mean, just on the power everywhere, taking chances, but it's working for him right now.
So Ricky Carmichael having to step it up. That's not an easy thing to do. He had a fast pace going. Anyway, Talon Vohland to the inside. Back and forth we go. Ricky Carmichael can't hold on. Vohland has the lead here in the second moto.
Talon just didn't waste any time. I mean, he just now caught Ricky and already put the pass on him.
Takes a tear off on the last jump. Almost looked like he was trying to throw it back to Ricky Carmichael. And so Talon Vohland now is our new leader here in the second moto. Valuable points, even though if Ricky Carmichael stays in second, he still wins the overall.
I don't think Ricky thinks this is going to last, but he's got to honor this challenge and stay with him.
Ricky Carmichael now in second place. Talon Vohland trying to stretch it out a little bit. Vohland nuts. Well, right there, I think Chad Watts is trying to say maybe don't follow too closely. Memories of Daytona. Let's go down to the mechanics area now, Davey Combs.
Chad, I got to ask you about that board you just put out. Vohland nuts. What's that mean?
He's out of control. He's swapping all over the place. He's going fast, but like I put on the pit board before, I mean, just to be smart. I mean, we had the reputation for crashing indoors, so we'll get to somebody else outdoors.
Shoes on the other foot, huh?
I hope. I mean, I give not taking nothing away from Vohland. He's riding really well, but it just looked like Ricky was more in control.
Well, I'd have to agree with him. But still, like I said, Ricky's got to honor this and try to stay with the pace. Don't want to let Vohland start getting some momentum. Who knows what that could turn into throughout the series.
Chad Watts mentioning he'd like somebody else to take over the crash title. He's got his hopes up now as Talon Vohland looks very, very strong right here.
Oh, he got into that berm. He was on the power before he even got there. He did it again in that corner. So now Ricky's intensity has picked up as well. And sometimes we challenge somebody like that. You take them out of their rhythm, and they're the ones that make the mistake. Oh, that's a big piece of work to catch Carmichael and pass him.
Whoa, Vohland slipping out. He kept the motor running, however. And you can see how far in front Ricky Carmichael and Talon Vohland were. His third place has
a huge gap on third. He didn't lose any ground.
Ricky Carmichael. As we take a look now at the Suzuki stopwatch for the intervals of...
Damn! So, Ricky, who do you think Mitch is talking to Ricky? Can you imagine that conversation? Who do you think then? So you're going up into the 250 class here. Who do you think we should hire next year for the 125? Wow, Talon's just come up and whooped my ass. Unfortunately, didn't stay on two wheels, but who caught Ricky Carmichael on a 125 and passed him? Unbelievable. Pretty cool. We're about halfway through this now, so there's obviously some more battles of a couple of rounds here and some coverage, but listening to them 125 two-strokes pinned, that was my life in the 90s as well. Flat out, 100%.
That much time you lose, and just a lap ago.
He keeps getting those hole shots. He'll be high in the points.
That helps so much. The first lap, the difference between being out there in the top three and being outside the...
Don't pick up a physical injury. I'm going to give it everything I got to the end.
To be able to just cruise in like this and enjoy it.
Carmichael can see the checkers flying. What a way to start.
Well, thank you. You know, I've been working really hard. I missed the Supercross season. I took that opportunity and that time off to train hard for the outdoors. I got great support from Honda, some good suspension. The bike was running really good. FMF really helped me out.
give me the opportunity to come back to the States, and there was no way I was not going to do good today. You know, I worked so hard. Even the first moto, I got to take on the first corner, but if I don't pick up a physical injury, I'm going to give it everything I got to the end. And I appreciate the fans out here, too, cheering me on. That was great.
Well, I tell you what, man, it should be an incredible series. It's good to have you back here in the States.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'd like to thank FMF and Honda again for giving me all the support.
Not fair.
Oh, man, that guy, he was hauling butt. You know, he caught up to me and passed me, and he slid out. He made a mistake, but I guess that's the way it goes. I'll tell you what, it was fun to battle it out with him. He was pretty clean. He put a clean pass on me, and you know, he gets all the respect. He rode good, but he made one mistake, and I took advantage of it and pulled out another win.
Yeah, I got to ask you how this Glen Helen track rates for you. You have not lost a moto here since you were a professional.
Oh, that feels good. You know, I'm gonna try to keep that string going.
Get nervous time here in the second moto as the 125 riders leaning in. The countdown is ready. The gate drops, and we are off with moto number 2. Oh, Ramsey with a great start this time. He's been working on those starts, David. Michael Brandes is right there, too. Number 25, Nathan Ramsey. Number 49 is Michael Brandes, once again out near the top.
Up until recently, he may have been content to sit there in second behind Ramsey and just see how things played out.
Made Casey Lytle look like a blur.
Look how hard it is for these guys to get over the doubles. What happens between motos, they put a little water on the racetrack. These guys are getting some wheel spin on the faces of the jumps.
Casey Johnson behind his teammate Casey Lytle. Look at this. Carmichael and Ramsey. You can't get two better competitors than this. On the same pro circuit team, Carmichael to the inside. Just for third. We've got a battle for first. Vohland to the inside. Brandes holding on.
Well, he held him off the first moto. He figures he probably ought to be able to do it again. Riding right there, smart, all the way down that inside. Learned from Vohland in the first moto. He's using against him now, so he's taking away his passing options. Well, till there.
Look at that. Talon Vohland is now our new leader. Coombs at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. The second moto of 125 action. Don't forget, stay tuned. The 250s are coming up next. It's been a wild 250 season so far. Michael Brandes trying to hold on to second place, but Ricky Carmichael is right there. Talon Vohland, who's trying to challenge Carmichael for the points battle, is out in front. Carmichael, so it appears that Vohland is pulling out in front. Here's the battle for second place. Ricky Carmichael, what a leap. Came down hard on that suspension.
Well, that's the same way that Vohland was able to make the pass. Carmichael saw it, did the same thing, just on the other side of him.
Vohland concentrating, focusing, trying not to make that mistake that'll give valuable seconds to Ricky Carmichael. When Carmichael moved into second place, Talon had a 5-second lead on him. Right now, it's been cut down to less than 3. Let's go down to Davey now with Tyson.
Tyson, it's a great start for Talon. He's out front, but I got to ask you, how did he feel health-wise between motos? You said he'd been sick.
Yeah, he was a little tired after the first one. He's had a little throat problem. He says he has enough energy for the moto. We know Ricky's extremely fast here, but we're going to give him a heck of a battle here in the second race.
Maybe his stamina won't be what it's been in the past couple of weeks.
Good shot at the interval between first and second place is Carmichael now picking and choosing.
Look at him work that bike, try to get the power down. Sometimes just moving over 2 inches to miss a rock or something that'll give you a little wheel spin, or much faster pace than he did in the first moto. It's nice when you can get out to the lead, cruise, and you don't have any challengers. Looks another time right there, his feet came off the pegs. Just little things like that. It doesn't slow him down or scare him, but it's things that didn't happen to him in the first moto. Now he's really having to push.
Michael, rather than the other way around.
Well, that's good. I think as much as people adore Ricky, and I'm also a big fan of his, it's nice to see him challenged. You want to see a great race, and Talon has been the only guy so far in the season to really step up and challenge him.
A lot at stake for Ricky Carmichael, too, as he continues to waltz through the record book. Welcome back to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, the second moto of the 125s. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Davey Coombs bringing you the action. Ricky Carmichael trying to put the heat now on Talon Vohland. has picked up some space between the two, as you see right there, almost rubbing the back rubber of Vohland. So the battle is on now. The serious battle is on.
I think Vohland knew he was coming. He may have just sort of bided his time and tried to get ready for the battle. I talked to McGrath about that after the first race at Glen Helen. He said when he saw Tortelli coming, he sort of backed off a little bit and just got ready. Talon may have done the same thing.
Ricky Carmichael now cuts to the inside. Oh, what a move by Carmichael. Almost like he deked him one way and went the other.
He did. Look at Talon, comes right back.
Back and forth we go. Ricky Carmichael looks back at him. Oh, the crowd is going crazy. Carmichael holding the edge right now.
All the way down, trying to keep that bike low. And it worked, he got him back.
Carmichael looking for the sweep. Tallon Vohland wants to take it away from him. While this great battle ensues, let's check in now with Davey Coombs in the mechanics area.
Wow, Chad, now that was some action right in front of us. Ricky and Talon getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, they both put some good moves on each other here, and they were clean. Neither one was dirty with each other. So it's going to be a tight race. I mean, it's kind of good to get a few second gap. I ain't saying we are or we ain't, but if you get a little bit of a gap, you can calm down and ride a little bit better.
There's no question that Talon Vohland has ridden with a certain amount of consistency, but when you turn to Ricky Carmichael, it's consistent. Back finishing up the second moto of 125 action, and it's Ricky Carmichael. He led every lap after getting the whole shot in the first moto. Had a 14-second lead by the halfway point, went on to victory. Here he had to work for it a little harder.
Quite a bit harder, I'd say. He's still riding hard. Look at him, he is pushing. Trying to open up a big lead and just take away all the hopes of Vohland. As soon as you've been lapped, that's it. As soon as the leader goes across the finish line, you're done.
And that's the case with Ricky Carmichael. At leisure, coming across the finish line, getting the checkered flag, has the 1-1 sweep for the second time this year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my Kawasaki Bridgestone bike was running good, and thanks to Fox and Oakley and Bell Helmets and, you know, everyone who helped me get here. I'll tell you what, I've been working hard, and I turned it around this weekend and showed him his boss, and, you know, I'm glad I went 1-1. That's really important, you know, but Talon's riding good, and every moto counts. And
Talk about showing him his boss. Whenever you guys had that little mix-up there in the middle going back and forth, tell us about that.
Oh, it was pretty fun. You know, I was just trying to have fun, and, you know, that's what racing's about, having fun, and, you know, I figured that I better not play around too long because he'd get in that pace and it'd be hard to pull away. But I felt good, and looking forward to the next race. And, hopefully I'll pull.
Hopefully soon I'll have that man as well, RC. Definitely going to be going after that. I've sort of gone back and forth a few times with Jeff Emig. So hoping once I can sort Emigs out, hopefully I'll get hooked up with RC after. I'm hoping, because I know those guys are close. So hey Reg, yeah, that was super cool. We did earlier on in the interview when Talon was on, put your pictures up of you guys and the team and the bike and everything before he retired. So we did put that up earlier on. Obviously, guys, all this gets recorded onto my YouTube channel, Motocross and Spear Memories on YouTube. You can subscribe to that for free and watch any of these ones if you couldn't watch them live. There's hundreds on there now that I've done since the COVID lockdown a couple of years ago, first one. And like I said, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. UK time, I'm going to get a full hour in with Ron Machine, the Dogger. So another cool one, another guy that I've chased for a couple of years now. So looking forward to that tomorrow night. But like I said, I will put the YouTube link out there tomorrow for Talons. So if we can get it out there, the more people that can see it, it's pretty cool. But yes, I'm definitely chasing. As you guys know, I've done a lot of very cool ones, but there's still some mega ones out there to chase. Jeff Emig said he's definitely going to do one, so I'm trying to nail him down on a date. Definitely want to do RC, Bubba, McGrath's my ultimate, obviously. I loved him. Who else? Pastrana, I'd love to do. Yeah, so many in there. Villapoto, he's coming over to Foxhill. Maybe I'll be able to hook up a link with him. It'd be cool to get Villapoto on, but yeah. I think Ricky Carmichael. I think Ricky Johnson's coming over, and that was obviously mega to do and I think it was a 3-hour all-out back to front of his career that he did with me. That was unbelievable. 3 hours, Ricky Johnson, crazy. But hopefully I get to meet him in person, get some sort of autograph or something at Foxhill Vets MXDN at Foxhill, as David K say. Roll on for that, so that should be cool. And like I said, I've got a meeting. Hopefully we'll announce something soon of a motocross and spear memories something. We'll announce that soon, hopefully, for October. So that'll be a cool spin-off from the reunion, but we'll keep the reunion to where once a year, big massive event, which has been amazingly supported. The first two we've done last September, and then also in April just gone in Cullen was unbelievable. We couldn't get any more riders there. 400 riders, you can't do any more than that. I think it was 9 groups of 44 or whatever it was. It was crazy, unbelievable. One of the best things I've ever done in my life. So that was amazing. So yeah, we're going to do this meeting in October. So let's look out for that. I'll get that out there soon. Also had confirmed I'm going to do a Speedway one next week with former world champion and multi-British champion Gary Havelock. So all the Speedway fans should be happy with that, live with Gary Havelock. That'll be really cool. I'm doing that next Tuesday, 8 p.m. I think it was UK time. And then obviously tomorrow night then with Ron Lachine. It should be really cool. Thanks for everyone that come on tonight. Thank you all for coming on and giving your questions. Like I said, I'll get the YouTube link out there tomorrow. If any of you guys can share that on your social medias or whatever, so more people can see it, it'd be cooler, be appreciated. And I will see you all soon. Good night and God bless. And as the old man would say, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. See you all soon. Cheers, guys. Ciao.